Hello.
Hello there.
My friend Erin is with me today.
Hi.
So I said, do you want to vlog with me? She said, sure.
Why not?
We are on the way home from this fundraiser that Erin invited me to go to because her husband couldn't go to, for a recovery house for women.
Yeah.
It was very cool. It was kind of an emotional thing.
It was very awesome.
They had people speak, and an old patient of Erin's spoke.
Yes.
That got sober when she was 21, right?
Yep. She has 15 months clean and sober now. Super proud of her.
Yeah, hers was probably the most moving speech.
Yeah, she did a really good job.
But it was really cool. I was surprised there were so many people there.
Yeah, there were so many people there.
So that was
great.
fun. Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming with me.
Yeah, it was fun.
I would have been bummed if I had to go by myself.
So Erin is a almost graduated social worker.
Whoop, whoop.
She almost has her master's degree in social work. So we're going to tell the story about how, so I met Erin, okay, now I met you with Tawny before Melissa, correct?
Yes.
So we've known each other now for like 8 years.
Yeah, 2010 I think is when we met.
Okay, so
yeah.
because we got married in 2011. So we've known each other for 8 years.
Yeah.
So, Erin and I have been friends, and single. I've been friends with her when she's single, in relationships, single again. And so, Erin.
I'm married.
She's married. I was married now. So here's the story. I get a call one day. Just don't say the names of places.
Okay.
Okay. So I got a call one day from Erin, and she's like, was it for work?
Yeah, I was at like a meeting.
She was at like a conference. It was like a work conference, right? What are you eating? Oh, she's eating cheese. She just started what was the diet?
The keto diet.
The keto diet. So she's eating cheese. Okay.
I'm so hungry.
Erin calls me and she's like, okay, I'm at this conference, or I just left this conference, and there was this guy there, and he was speaking, and he was like on the panel, and she's like, I think he's really cute, and he's really attractive, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, and the thing is that, okay, now I don't get on the Facebook. Y'all know I don't get on the Facebook. She was like, I looked him up, and you guys are like, are friends together. Mm-hmm. I go, okay, so wait, let me get this straight. So, you're Facebook stalking this dude.
Absolutely. Like a normal person would.
And I said, and you found out that he and I were friends? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, what's his name? And so she says Eric, her husband. And I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, instantly, and I'm the matchmaker of the world, okay? I mean, I truly am. And I was like, oh my God, you guys would be perfect for each other. And this is why, okay? Erin's kissed a few frogs.
Like 7.
Like,
100.
A few frogs that I would never have picked for her, let's just put it that way. So, it's not like he's gonna watch my vlog.
Yeah.
She dated a real asshole. So anyway, okay, and we're all real protective of her. So she mentions Eric, and I'm like, oh my God, he is perfect for you. He's like the nicest guy in the whole world, handsome, dresses very nice, and very, very smart. And like at the top of his game in the career he's at. And she's like, well, how do you know him? And I said, well, we used to work back together in treatment. He was a men's counselor, and I was on the adolescent unit. And we worked together for like 5 or 6 years, I think.
Yeah.
So we used to work together when we were both counselors in treatment. And so she was like, oh, okay. She's like, do you know if he's married or if he's single? I said, I don't know him like that, but I'm sure. I go, let me send him a message. And I said, and we'll find out. So I immediately message him, and I'm like, hey, Eric, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. I said, so a friend of mine was at this conference that you were at today, and she thought you were very attractive, and I don't know if you're single or not, but blah, 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 whatever. And he immediately messages me back, and what did you have on? He goes, did she ever hair back in a ponytail and have what kind of sweatshirt do you
I had like my university sweatshirt on.
Yeah, so, and I was like, I go, I don't know, let me check. So I checked, and she's like, yes, I did. And I'm like thinking, so they both spotted each other, and neither one of them will talk to each other, which is funny, because you're kind of forward.
But we were at like a work thing, and he was with like all of his work people, and I was there by myself, and I just didn't feel like it was an appropriate time to be like,
it was so cute.
how you doing?
So anyway, so he said, yeah, I'm single. And I said, well, you guys should go on a date. And I'm going to have her message you on Facebook. And he said, okay. He goes, yeah, that would be really fun. So then you messaged him, right?
So I was
funny.
like mortified. Like I was like, it was like that moment where you're like, okay, don't message him, but like maybe message him.
But I did all the work for you.
But yeah, I know, but it was still like embarrassing because now I felt like a 10-year-old and I had to be like, hi, do you like me? Yes or no? So.
And let's just put this in perspective. Erin has 2 kids.
I do.
You have a, how old's your son?
16.
16 and a 13-year-old.
She'll be 14 on Sunday.
So Maddie, that's been in some of my mukbang videos, my booktube videos, that's Erin's daughter.
She's all mine.
She raised Maddie, who is fantastic, and her son Levi is fantastic too. We love them both. And so it was, I just want to say this on here, it was interesting in fact, because when I went through, y'all know what I went through in December, right? And I had to tell Erin about it because I was going to put Maddie in a video. And you said to me at that time, I have never, nor will I ever, I can't remember how you said it, but you said, I would never, nor would I ever not allow you around my kids.
Absolutely.
You are absolutely fantastic with my kids. And
Peter's been like hanging with my kids and my family the entire time we've known each other because they're older now, so now we could like go grab dinner or something, and I can. And
they're very well behaved kids.
Leave those little brats at home.
Erin.
Just kidding.
No, but they've always been really well behaved.
But when they were little, you know, I had to take them everywhere. So if Peter said like, let's grab dinner, I was like, I got to bring the kids. So my kids have really grown up with Peter. You know, for the last 8 years. I mean, that's a long time.
And it's been a privilege to be able to be part of that. Yeah, and they're neat kids. So, anyway, you reached out to him and you sent him a message, right?
I did. So I sent him a message and I was like, oh, well, this is embarrassing, but like, hey.
Okay, first of all, Eric is a really nice guy. Like, super nice, okay?
Yeah, let's just preface it with that.
Balls of steel? I don't know that I would say that.
So it was, you know, he messaged me back and said like, oh, I'm so flattered, you know, blah, 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 blah. I never hear from him again, right?
She never hears from him again. He doesn't message her back.
So I'm like, well, clearly he wasn't that interested. So that's fine, whatever. So then a few weeks later.
No, it was like that day you called me and you go, he didn't message me back. He didn't give me a number. He didn't ask me out.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. She's like panicking. I'm like, let me just take care of this. So I don't really do anything with it. And then like a week or two later, she said something to me about it again. This stupid camera. So like a week or two later, she said something to me about it again. And so I messaged him and I said, Eric, are you going to ask her out? Like, what's the problem here? Okay. Like ask her out, you know? And I told Aaron, I said, if he doesn't ask you out, ask him out.
So, and typically I wouldn't have an issue with that because I like totally think that women are powerful and we can ask men out. We don't have to wait. But I had been single for a minute. I felt like I was like in this place where I was like reaching out and I was asking guys out on a date and like I just said like I want.
And you were real protective of your kids this time.
Yeah,
too.
and like
you were like I'm not bringing a bunch of people around my kids.
And I said, you know, I've made it very clear that I'm interested, and so I really feel like the ball's in his court to ask me out on a date. So I'm not going to ask him out on a date. So I don't hear from him for a couple of weeks. And then at one point he does message me again and he says, hey, if you ever want to get to know each other better, here's my phone number. So like within 5 seconds I've texted him like, oh my God, hi, it's me. I'm ready. Let's chat. And we text for like 20 minutes and I don't hear from him again for like weeks. And so I was like,
she messages him again and then he doesn't respond to her again.
I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? So
I think that was when I got involved.
It was just like
I said, you gotta take her out. Like this is ridiculous at this point.
So then like at some
point, and he's like, I'm scared. I'm intimidated. I'm scared. I haven't dated in forever, he said.
We started like texting and everything, and then we ended up getting together. And like once we went out on a date.
What was your first date?
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What'd you guys do?
So I had been out with friends and he plays the drums. So he was playing in a cover band all day. And we were actually going to go out on our first date the next day. And then that evening I don't like to stay out late. I'm not wild and crazy, and some of my friends were wanting to stay out all night, St. Patrick's Day. And I was ready to go, and he was like, well, hey, I'm done early. How about I just come pick you up and we'll hang out? And I was like, okay. And we ended up sitting and just talking for hours. I can't even tell you how many hours. And I can't get rid of him now.
Just can't get rid of him.
He literally is glued to my... I'm surprised he's not, attached to me right now.
And then they got married in the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm. It was wonderful. It was beautiful.
And,
Yeah, so...
And now she's graduating, and he's a counselor. Well, he's not. He's like a director of... I don't want to say a lot more than that.
Yeah, just treatment, so... But it's great. I love to give him a bunch of...
Addiction brought us together. And he's sober, too.
Yep. He'll be celebrating 19 years in June. So, very excited. And I love to give him crap about waiting so long to contact me too, but he just always says that he had a lot going on, and he was, hesitant to get
devoted to her and her
a relationship. Yes, and he is a wonderful man.
You guys are so good together.
And my kids adore him, which is a plus.
Well, my God, why wouldn't they? This year for Christmas, they got iPads and computers, and he's literally buying their love. No, he's not. And a little unknown fact that I did not know about her husband, okay, is that Eric and I, not only are we both in recovery, but we both have a hidden love obsession for what? Going to a certain place. Oh, you now like it too.
Oh, shoot. Well, now I can't remember.
We're on 70, but if we were on 74, we pass it.
Oh, Lord.
Say it.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
She and her husband go to the casino, too. And let me tell you, he hits $14,000, $10,000, $20,000 because he plays
He's never hit $20,000.
What's the most he's hit?
I think 10. So actually, it's a really funny story about the one time that he hit 10,000. We had just gotten engaged. We're starting to plan a wedding. We know we want to get married on the beach. And we also were going to buy a house. He owned a house, I own a house, but we were going to buy a bigger house together.
Because so it's important for you guys to know, because they're now wanting to know the whole history of Erin. Before she decided to go back to school, I have known her getting her undergraduate degree, getting her master's degree, practicums, internships, everything. I'm so proud of her. But before all that, she was a hairstylist.
Yes. And I only did men's hair. So I was just a men's hairstylist, and it was fabulous. I did it for 13 years.
She worked hard for the money, so hard. Okay, so anyway, the funny story about the casino.
So he owns a house, I own a house. We're gonna buy a house together because both of our houses are pretty small houses, and we need a bigger house, a new fresh start. So I'm sitting on the couch one night. He hadn't been to a casino in a long time, and he said something about wanting to go, and I said, honey, go have some fun.
Had you not been really at that point?
No, I really didn't ever go. And he hadn't gone in a long time, and so I was like, yeah, go have some fun, blah, blah, blah. And right as he's walking out the door, I said something like, we're getting ready to buy this house. If you could just go ahead and win $10,000, that'd be great.
Is this exit right?
Yeah, to the right. So then a few hours later, I text him and I'm like, hey, how's it going? You having a good time? And he was like, oh my God, you're not gonna believe this. I just won $10,000. I was like, okay, that's hilarious.
You didn't
and
believe
he was
it?
like, no, I didn't. No, because I just said that to him. And he was like, no, I did. And I said, if you're lying to me about this, I'm gonna be so mad when you get home. And next thing I know, he sent me a picture, and they gave him one of those big checks and everything. And
he plays $20 a spin.
He had this big thing, and it was crazy. And he came home, and we used it towards the down payment of our house. So,
did you really?
Yeah, we really did.
Smart.
Yep. And so it was perfect, and we bought a house a month later.
And now it's time to have a baby.
Wrong.
Are you not really going to have kids?
No. I am closed for business. Closing up shop.
But Erin's business started early.
Yeah, it started very early.
How old were you when you had Levi?
As you can tell, I'm only 22 right now, I think.
You were 16 when you had Levi?
17.
17?
Mm-hmm.
So see, Erin is a good example that you can be a teen mom, turn your life around, be successful, and have all your dreams come true.
Yeah.
And live a right life, and I think that's important. I've had a lot of friends that were teen moms. Was it hard?
It was super hard. I was a little more fortunate than some, I believe, because I had family that did help some, but our families made us get married. So both my kids have the same dad. We were married for 4 years, but when we got pregnant at 17 in high school, because clearly I didn't know how contraceptive works.
She's joking.
When I was 17, I just didn't really know anything about it.
You didn't know about it, or you didn't think about it?
I really didn't know about it.
So you were 17 when you got married?
Yeah.
How did you get married at 17 in the state of Indiana?
Parents can sign for you.
Oh, and they did?
Yeah, they told us we had to get married. We were having a baby.
How old was he?
He's a year older than me, so he was 18.
God, you were married at 17. I can't even imagine.
I know. It's crazy because now my son will be 17 this year in September, and I can't imagine him doing anything adult-like.
Yeah,
So
let's not have that conversation.
So being married, imagining him being married right now, that's just absurd to me.
Yeah, I imagine fireworks in the driveway.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, okay?
Yeah.
And jumping around with the dogs and doing dance videos when they were 10. We don't
Yeah.
need to go there.
Yeah.
And Melissa is Aaron's best friend.
She's my bestie boo.
She steals her from me. When I'm trying to go, I see her what?
You steal her from me.
When I'm trying to go to brunch, I'll call Melissa and she'll be like, oh, Aaron and I already went 2 hours ago.
Listen, let me just tell you right now.
They don't ever invite me.
I invite Peter all the time, and he's always too busy for me. Okay?
Filming, yeah, or sleeping.
Yeah. I'll be like, do you want to go have brunch? No.
They text me at 9
Stay
o'clock.
on the right lane because we're going to go on.
They text me at 9 o'clock and they're like, do you want to go to brunch? I'm like, first of all, that's breakfast. Brunch is not at 9 o'clock. Brunch is 2.
Take the next exit.
Or, is this Shaylin?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway.
So we do invite him all the time, and actually they go places and they don't invite me.
No, they are fantastic. I love them both. We were just talking about how, because I said something about beans, and then she said she doesn't eat beans, and I was thinking about our chili dinner. Was that Halloween?
Yeah.
And Melissa made chili, a big pot for everybody, and then she made Aaron's without beans, and she made mine vegetarian.
So she had to make 3 pots of chili.
3 pots of chili.
Because she is such a good friend that she does that.
You know that's a good friend.
That is a very good friend when she makes it 3 separate ways to make all of her friends happy.
And host a Super Bowl party with everybody going crazy.
Yeah.
Or was that the Super Bowl?
It was Super Bowl, but I also think we did it for Halloween too.
Because we always do the Halloween.
Yeah. So we did it for Halloween.
And Maddie, by the way, I just remembered, has my DVD disc of Roseanne's Halloweens.
She does?
Yeah, she borrowed it that night. She can give it back anytime she wants. It's been 6 months now. Thank you. I'm not a lending library.
I didn't even know she had it.
If I can find another copy of it, she can just have it.
Well, now
I'm sure she doesn't remember she had it either.
She probably doesn't. It's
But her
probably,
mom didn't teach her very well to return things properly on time.
it's probably buried under a sea of her clothes.
I always bring Maddie gifts when I see her too. I always feel bad for Levi, but Levi only wants $400 pairs of shoes, and I haven't got all that. Do I want Shaylin North?
Yeah, Shaylin.
Oh my lord, okay.
Goodness, you think you'd never lived in this city before?
Aaron, okay, so she took Levi. This is one of my favorite Levi Aaron stories. So she took her son to go buy a pair of shoes, and how much were they? $300 or something?
Probably.
She's so pissed. She's like, no, I'm not buying these shoes. These are ridiculous. I'm not buying them. It was $200 or $300. And he's like, yeah, Mom, everybody in school this and everybody in school that. This was when he's a freshman.
Yeah.
So she gets home, and she said, he was going to school, and she said, aren't you going to
Other way.
lift?
Yeah, because Shaylin, it's on the left. Otherwise,
so
you're back
confused.
I know.
She said, aren't you going to wear them to school? And he goes, oh no, I'm going to save them. And what do you say, sell them or something?
Yeah.
And repurpose them. These kids resell their. She goes, I paid $200 for those sneakers. You are wearing those to school.
He would buy all these shoes, and then he was mowing lawns, and he, to give him credit, he was buying a lot of his own shoes. But then, here you go, left at the light.
Left it. Okay.
But then he would be wearing flip-flops to the bus stop, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, my sneakers are in my backpack, I can't get them dirty, so they can't get any dirt in them, and then they have to walk funny because they can't crease them, because they have to take them to shoe convention so they can sell them. And it's just
he's
not really into that anymore, so I'm really thankful, because that was
the sneakers are so expensive though.
And I didn't even, there's like a whole culture around buying and selling these tennis
they love
shoes.
it.
And it's so silly, and I don't get it. Like,
my husband's obsessed with the sneakers too, but he doesn't buy sneakers that expensive. I'm like,
yeah.
we got bills to pay.
It's crazy. Well,
all right. I just wanted to have Erin on here for a little bit. Thank you, dear, for my evening. Now you guys got to know Erin a little bit more, and she's going to be in more videos.
All my personal business.
About almost graduated, so now she can actually do things. But she was in the Baumeister Paranormal video.
I was there. It was amazing.
We went to the, I mean, you really couldn't. I mean, Melissa upstaged all of us with her 5,000 questions. But I love her for that so much. She was asking all the questions. Now, do you have the book and the pictures of all the murders? I was like, oh my God.
Do you have one of the dead bodies still here? Because we'd like to see it. She's hilarious. Melissa and I do all
She does have balls of steel. She will ask anything, and I love her for it. Because, like, if you're somewhere and you want to do something, but you don't want to be the one to ask, Melissa will ask.
So Melissa and I are dying to go on a road trip to this one haunted place that is on our bucket list, and we need some more people to go.
What's it called?
The Villisca Axe Murder House.
Oh my God.
It's in Iowa. And
I'll go.
You will?
Yes, I've done it once. I can do it again. So that's 3 of us.
We're going to spend the night there, though.
Okay, we'll do a meetup at the Villisca House Murder House.
Okay, so we need to plan that, and so we need to go and see
that yellow light.
See what we can.
Do you see the yellow light up there?
Yeah.
Am I lying, or is there really a yellow light up there?
Yeah.
That means it's about to shut off because the internal temperature is too high.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. What does it look like for you when you look at it?
Like a little yellow square?
Mm-hmm. That means it's too hot.
It's because I'm so hot.
That's because you're so hot.
I'm so hot, I'm heating
Okay,
up.
so we're going to do a Villisca
Axe Murder House.
Okay, we're going to do that.
Yeah, we got to drive
So
there.
I'll keep you guys updated on when we're going to do all that. I'll be terrified. All right, well, thank you for being on the vlog.
Thank you.
This was kind of like a podcast tonight.
It was super fun.
Okay, bye. Say bye. Hello. Back. I can hear the birds of spring outside chirping. And it's actually only, it's 3 o'clock, which is interesting that I can hear them. But on the way home, I had to get dog food, and I almost forgot to get dog food, and so I went to the grocery store, and what was I gonna say? And I was gonna go and get something somewhere else, but I was like, I'm just gonna go to the grocery store and get something for dinner, and I hadn't eaten, and so I ended up getting bagels, red onion, Havarti cheese, and this low-fat cream cheese, and making a sandwich. And then I got some potato salad, which was probably not real healthy, but I was kind of craving potato salad, and an orange juice. And I made that when I got home, and then Alex fed the dogs, and we sat there and watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And yeah, it was kind of a nice evening. And then we both went to bed really super early, and I have not felt well earlier today. My stomach had been kind of hurting the last couple days, and it was like in pain, and I wasn't really sure what was going on, but I knew that it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I was sick. It felt like something, maybe like I had gone to brunch with my dad on a Sunday, and my stepmom was like, it sounds like you're talking like you have an ulcer, or you know, maybe something. She was like, I don't know, but you need to go get it checked out. My dad was like, yeah, let me refer you, to like a friend of mine that's a gastroenterologist. And so then Alex gave me his primary care physician's name today so that I could go see him and then get the referral to the gastroenterologist. So if you're not in the United States, it's how it works. You have to go through your primary care physician to get a referral. So I'm going to probably do that just to make sure that everything's okay. But today, I started feeling better around 3, 4 in the afternoon. And then I was really worried to eat tonight because it's like right after I eat that I don't feel really well. This is going to sound crazy. I'm always in my head trying to like, guess what it is. And I always go to the extreme and think it's something horrible whenever I feel sick. But But I was kind of wondering if I wasn't like lactose intolerant or something, because it's like always after I eat something that has like some kind of, milk in it or dairy in it or something like that. And although I had the cream cheese tonight, it wasn't like that much, and my stomach did not hurt at all after I ate. I was kind of just like laying there in bed, and I was like waiting for my stomach to hurt, and it never did. And I feel completely fine right now. So I'm either like, this is a bug that passed, or and maybe that's the case, or it is like a food allergy. I don't know, I've been drinking so much water lately. We had such a good time at this thing tonight. It was funny when Erin asked me, her husband couldn't go because he had to work late. So she asked me if I wanted to go, and it was for the starting of a halfway house, a woman's halfway house. And so I went, and I really thought it would just be we thought it would be like an open house. And I bet there were 400 or 500 people there. And it was like this whole like presentation that they did. It was really powerful. And they had like a mother speak that her daughter was an addict. And then they had somebody else speak who had like lost a child to addiction. And then they had this girl that was like 22 speak about her recovery. And it was mostly like about recovery from heroin. And so the woman who is, it's funny, like in my head I say girl because I can remember when I hired her. And I remember the day I hired her. And she had been working at, I think, like Hot Topic. And so she worked at like Hot Topic or one of those stores in the mall. Deer out tonight. Oh, they are. They're way out there. You can see them. Oh, and there's one over there. It's kind of like really like haze. What's that called? Misty outside. Foggy. That's what I'm looking for. And then I had worked with her in treatment, and she was a tech when we hired her, and then she ended up moving up and becoming a counselor. And so when I left, she was like a recovery coach, and she left right after I did, and she started working for the state. Well, she has since been like the person in Indiana that has worked with the drug court system. So if you don't know what drug courts are, like most counties have drug courts, and what they are is that like if you get a possession charge or some kind of drug related charge, they option you to go through the drug court. And a lot of times it's like a diversion program, or they offer you treatment options instead of just going to jail or prison if you can stay sober. So a lot of what your punishment is related to, going to 12-step meetings, having a sponsor, staying in a halfway house, or work release, things like that. And they monitor you very, very closely. And then you have to stay sober for like a year and a half, 2 years before you get out of drug court. But that was kind of where it all started. But now she has put into place like that. She kept on referring, when she spoke, she kept on talking about some heroin program and Vivitrol program. And Vivitrol is a maintenance drug that they use to get people long-term detox off of opioids. But anyway, I just sat there and I listened to her tonight, and I'm like, I'm so proud of her, like she is doing some really important shit. And I went up to her afterwards. I was like, oh my God, and I gave her a big hug, and she was like, it's so good seeing you. And I was like, it's so good seeing you too. And I said, I'm so proud of you. I said, like you're doing such, valuable work. And I got to be part of that. I don't know why I'm crying. You sit there and you listen to these stories, and it's like, when you've worked with it for so long, at some point you kind of become immune, but then it's like you kind of lose your immunity at some point. And I was looking at her while this girl was speaking, and she was kind of like, she was sitting at like the table in front of us, and she was like wiping her tears and stuff like that, and it's like, it's just, you know, it's interesting. This mom was saying, like, you know, nobody wakes up and says that they wish they would turn out to be an addict, and then this girl said it too, and it's like, I never wanted to be an addict, but as weird as this is gonna sound, I'm very grateful today that I am. I mean, everything that I've learned in my life, I've learned because I was sober, you know? I'm glad I'm alive, obviously, but, and then I made it out. I've lost so many people to heroin. And I remember when heroin came to Indianapolis, you know, and it was like, you know, for a long time, Indiana was really known for being a methamphetamine state. And they read the rates of like different drugs on drug screens today in certain counties. And it was interesting that meth is still like a really big drug. Like I just don't hear a lot about it, you know, in the rooms of recovery. But a lot of, like, back in the day, a lot of the people that we got in treatment were from like country counties, and meth was really, really big in like country counties, you know. And but then at some point heroin took over. It really started like, we didn't see it as heroin right away, you know. It started being, you know, Oxycontin and oxycodone, and people abusing pills, people snorting pills. I mean, the way that it came in is really the way that it happens a lot with people, you know, is that people start using pills and eating pills and snorting pills, and then, you know, then they're using heroin. A lot of times first they snort heroin, you know, and then they're shooting heroin, you know, they're shooting dope. And I mean, I've always known people that were heroin addicts, or, you know, had used it. And I actually, when I was in detox, I went through detox, and the guy in the room with me was a heroin addict. It's one of the worst detoxes you can ever imagine going through. And, but it wasn't rampant like it is now. I mean, every death I ever hear of, every death, is heroin. I mean, it's almost like you don't even ask anymore, like, well, what did they die of? Because you kind of, like, when somebody says overdose, you just assume that it's heroin. And I remember before it was that rampant, and you know, honestly, it's all kids. It's all really young people. And it's so sad. It's just, it breaks my heart. And the reality is, you know, you don't know, I mean, do you know a lot of, like, 60-year-old heroin addicts that started when they were 20? Probably not. People don't live long lives on heroin. It catches up with them at some point, you know? And so if you know somebody that's using heroin, the really scary thing is sooner or later they're either going to get sober, institutionalized, or die. I mean, you know, and that's kind of like what's promised to us, jails, institutions, or death. So anyway, I sat there tonight, you know, and I watched her, and I was just so proud of her, and I thought, you know, like, even though I'm not in it today, like, at one point in my life, I was part of this, you know, I was part of this, you know, this journey, this war on drugs, so to speak, that Nancy Reagan thing, but, you know, no, really, I was, you know, and it was a privilege to be part of that, and share my story, you know, with people, like, in situations like these. This would have been something that I would have spoken at back in the day, you know, like, these were the kind of things that I spoke at, and to see the people get up there and share their personal stories, especially the parents, was just so powerful. And I don't know, it's just, there's a lot of people out there fighting a good fight, you know? I think a lot of times we want to really focus on all the real, like the sadness and the negativity of it, instead of also seeing the success stories and, you know, the parents who have lost kids that are giving back and, you know, fundraising and doing recovery walks and educating people. And I know so many parents that have lost their kids that do that. You know, they continue to, like my friend Lori is like that. You know, she gets up every Sunday morning and goes and shares her story in a treatment facility with parents, you know, and addicts. And, I just never knew, you know, like when I mean, I think about this sometimes. It's like, you know, when I was like in high school or growing up, and what I thought my life would look like as I got older, whatever concept that was, you know, of being married and having kids or whatever. I guess I never, like, I guess, no, I know I never imagined that any kind of relationship with drugs or alcohol, recovery, anything would ever be a part of my life. And it wasn't like I didn't know about those things. Like I had read, you know, Drew Barrymore's book, and that had a huge impact on me actually using more back in the day. And, you know, my mom knew friends that were sober that went to meetings, and they would try to get her to go. And, you know, I knew what 12-step programs were growing up. But I never for one second ever thought that any of that would be like a major part of my life, let alone the priority of my life, you know? I just had no idea. And I think that's where my own kind of self-evaluation was totally missing. But there are so many people out there, you know, that are sharing their stories. And Erin and I were talking about that on the way there. You know, I was telling her about, you know, it's weird for me that, like, I'm not part of that community anymore. That, like, you know, I'm not a counselor. I don't work in a treatment facility. You know, like, I'm not, like, giving back on any kind of level like that. And she was like, but do you get emails from people, or do people reach out to you and say thank you for your videos and thank you for sharing your story? And I said, oh, sure. Yeah, I do. And she said, so you're giving back, but you're giving back in a different way. And I was like, yeah, I guess, you know, like, I don't see it that way. And she was like, as long as you continue to share your story, that's all that matters. And she's always been such an inspirational friend to me. And I wish that, you know, she and Melissa and I all live within 5 minutes of each other, and Erin's just very down to earth and real, and Tanya loves her too, and I just wish I got to see her more often. She's been so busy with school, and she works also, and she's just very, very busy. So now that she's almost done with school, we'll get to see her a little bit more. I'm excited. Whenever we do stuff as couples, we see them a lot. On New Year's, she and her husband were in my New Year's Eve video that I filmed. And then she went to the Baumeister Mansion with Melissa and I. Her and Melissa are super, super close. So anyway, I was listening to my audiobook just a little bit ago. I like woke up out of the, to be honest with you, sometimes I'm kind of surprised that I ever even wake up to do my vlog, because I have no alarm set or anything, and I just wake up. And Alex, like, reached over and put his hand on my chest, and he was like, where are you headed to? And I said, I have to go do my vlog. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, how long? I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. I'm going to get some water. And he said, okay, I'll see you back here in a little bit. His best friend is coming on Friday. He's so excited to see her. She gets in at like 5 a.m. and they're going to go out to breakfast. And then on Saturday, they're going to see a concert. And then we'll probably go out to brunch on Sunday. I think she's staying until Tuesday or something. And she's his friend that's moving back here. He's super excited about that. And I'm doing a 24-hour readathon on Saturday. And, oh, that stupid yellow light is on. And, I'm excited about that. I've never done a 24-hour readathon. I gotta go and pick out the books I want to read for it. Well, it'll probably be catch up for me, first of all, because I have like, 2 or 3 books that I want to catch up on. And I'll probably vlog throughout the day that day. I don't know anything about what time it starts or anything. I've got to find out all the rules. It'll probably go from like 11:59 going into a Saturday PM to like 11:59 Sunday. I don't know though. I guess we'll find out. What a nice night. It's 52 degrees. It's very, very still outside. So that I don't get into a story and then it shuts off on me. I mean, I'm right at 20 minutes, so I'm going to shut it off and then let it cool down for a second, and then I'll come back and finish my vlog. Okay, I'm back. Okay, here's the situation. I haven't seen Tanya in 2 days. It's kind of weird. She was texting me tonight. She told me to get some milk of magnesium for my stomach. I said, I'm feeling better. I don't know that I need to get anything. I don't really like taking any kind of medicine. I've just been kind of weird about that ever since I got sober. There are all kinds of animals out tonight. I've seen all kinds of things. Bunnies and squirrels and fox and deer and everything. And I think I saw a fox. And but I constantly am seeing, like, because I'm driving by the field, you can see eyes lit up out there. And spring is alive in Indiana. I love the smells of spring in Indiana. I love the smells of summer in Indiana too. And the county fairs are so much fun. If you've never been to a county fair before, you have to go just once in your life and walk around and see all the people and smell all the concessions and the crap food that's horrible for you. And you have to get cotton candy and an elephant ear just once. And we didn't go to the state. Did we go to the state fair last year? I don't think we did. No, we didn't go to the state fair last year. And but I'm thinking about the fact that I'm going to go to several county fairs this year. I love county fairs. It's like a perfect summer night to go to the county fair, and they're always in like late July, early August. It's fun to go with some friends and just walk around and listen to a band. I don't ride the rides. I'm weird about rides. I've always kind of been scared of rides, and so I don't do the rides. My husband loves rides. He loves going to amusement parks. We actually haven't been to an amusement park in a long time. When we first started dating, like the first couple of summers, we would go every year to Kings Island in Cincinnati with a group of friends, and I would usually like go to the water park or something. I can do rides in a water park. I just don't like roller coasters and stuff. And being epileptic, I'm not supposed to go on them, which is my excuse I use. One way that it comes in as a positive. But, no, I just don't like the rides. It scare the hell out of me. When I was a little kid, my dad would complain because he would say, you love the rides that like are they make you sick, like the teacups, you know, at Disney World that like go round and around. He's like, you love those kind of rides, but you don't like the fun rides, like the roller coasters. But I just don't. In the summer when I was growing up as a kid, behind the Target Mall, there was always this like fair carnival they would put up in the parking lot. I don't know why this carnival always meant so much to me. Whenever I look back on summers, these are the things I remember from summer, like when I was a kid. Like my mom, like one year was getting her master's degree. I don't know how old I would have been, like 9, or I would have been younger than that, probably 8 or 9. And I had this babysitter, and she was awesome, and she would come Monday through Fridays, and we would ride our bikes, and we would go swimming at the pool, and then we would go to McDonald's, and we would get cheeseburgers and fries, and we would sit there outside, and we would eat it, and then we would like go get ice cream, and at 31 flavors, Baskin Robbins, and I always got mint chocolate chip. That was my flavor when I was a kid, or bubblegum ice cream. And my birthday's in the summer, so I would always get an ice cream cake. I used to always get bubblegum ice cream and ice cream cake. Oh, I loved ice cream cake. And I loved from Baskin Robbins, those 31 flavors. I loved those clown ice cream cones. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's basically like a scoop of ice cream, and then they put the hat on it, which is like the cone, and then they like decorate it with frosting. I loved those. And then we would like ride bikes, and you know, then I would, after she would leave in the evening, everybody would like get a, you know, a baseball game or a kickball game going in the cul-de-sac, and everybody would play, or, you know, get lightning bugs, or just walk. We would just like walk up and down the street for hours as kids, you know, up and down the street, and talk to the neighbors and stuff. And I can remember the smell, you know, of like cut grass in the woods, and you'd hear like, you know, all the bugs everywhere. And I kind of had this real magical, you know, summers growing up. I remember my mom drinking, but like my mom would have friends that came over, and they would sit out like on the front porch and or steps of my house, and you know, drink a couple beers, have a couple cigarettes, and they would like, you know, cheer us on as we were playing baseball or whatever we were playing. And but I remember like getting friends, and we would go to that carnival, and like our moms would drop us off, and then they would pick us up like 2 hours later, and we would walk around, and it was just this little fair, you know. And but I remember doing all that. Summers were just so magical back then, you know, and they just seemed to go on forever and ever and ever. And because we would be out before June and not go back to school till after September, you know. It was awesome. I was talking to this mom the other day, and she was telling me that she really believes in like summers being shorter and all this kind of stuff because kids don't retain information as well over the summers. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm not convinced that I believe that. Like, I'm not convinced that I'm any less smart than kids growing up today because they have shorter summers. I'm sure there's some kind of research that shows that's true, but I just don't know that I believe that, you know? Summers in Indiana are hot and sticky, and, you know, night swims late at night under full moons, and, you know, playing games, and God, it just was so much fun. I was telling Tanya the other night, I was like, I can't wait for us to go get slushies, and you know, sit at the... Well, Tanya and I get slushies, and then we go to strip malls, and we, like, late at night, and we kind of just walk up and down the strip mall and look in the stores and stuff like that. She always mixes hers. I'm like, why are you mixing yours? She'll mix, like, a cotton candy with, like, a sour apple. And then when I would be at my dad's house, you know, on the weekends after he built his house, it was so much fun. He lived on the, well, he still lives on the lake, and they have a pool, and I would swim just like by myself late at night and watch movies, and my dad would grill out like every night, and it was so much fun. And I would stay up late in my room and watch, you know, scary movies or whatever. And I remember one year I got those what do you call them, those stars, and I put them all over the ceiling of my my room. Those glow-in-the-dark stars. A lot of kids have them now, but back then not a lot of kids did, and I don't know where I ended up finding them, but I put them all over my ceiling, and I love to just lay in my bed and like look at the stars. And people would fish on the lake, like they would night fish really late at night. I would have all my windows open. I feel like when I was growing up, we always, like, both houses always had the windows open, because I could hear people cast, like, really, like, you know, you could hear them, like, casting out there in the lake. And, reading was always such a big thing for me in the summers, too. Like, you know, going to the library and getting books and just, like, reading all summer long. I loved to just, you know, go to the pool, or, you know, when I was at my dad's house, swimming by the pool, and then, like, getting out and, like, reading for an hour, and then getting back in the pool, and, you know, making a turkey sandwich. And, you know, my stepmom would come out there and swim with me, and, you know, then we'd go to the grocery store and get stuff for dinner, and we would, you know, go back, and then my dad would come home, and, you know, we would grill out and sit on the patio, and my dad would tell stories, or my stepmom would tell stories of them growing up and stuff. It was just really fun. Like, I don't know, those summer times were just so fun. There's something about summer that just feels like an endless vacation, you know, and the weather's so much nicer, and I'm ready. I am so ready for this summer. And we're almost there. It's almost May. I can't believe it. May in Indiana is, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's a really big month because of the race. So we have the Indy 500 Memorial Day weekend, and I mean, people from like all over the world are here. There's tons of parties. It's kind of a crazy thing. Now, I don't go to the race. Alex goes every year, and he goes to the Snake Pit. And the Snake Pit is, like, when I was growing up, it's like where all of, like, the bikers went, and they would have, like, you know, it was like, the Snake Pit is, like, in the middle of the track, and all of, like, the bikers would go there and hang out. It was, like, this big, like, crazy area, and they would have bands play and stuff, like, you know, I'm trying to think of bands that they might have had back then, you know, very kind of like Leonard Skinner kind of bands. But now it's this big DJ thing that they do, and like a little music festival. They have huge DJs. Like, I think this year it's like Alesso, and like Martin Garrix was there last year, and I mean, it's a big deal. They have like huge DJs. I went the first year that that Alex went. I went with him, and I was like, okay, there are several places that a person in sobriety should not go. One is tailgating to a college football game. Okay, that's not a place that I did that. I don't ever need to do it again. I was way out of my element, and I felt very, very uncomfortable. This car wants to pass me by, so pass. The drinking was like surreal. And then we went to the Snake Pit, and it was the same thing. It was, I mean, I saw like 18, 19-year-old kids like passed out drunk and left by their friends just in the grass. And I mean, people go there for like, the race is on Sunday. People go there Friday and Saturday and stay the whole weekend and drink like that the whole weekend. And Alex always goes, like, he usually takes his he usually takes his brother, but his brother moved this year, so he won't be taking his brother. But he has like 2 friends that he's going to go with, maybe. And then Melissa and Jason go every year, but they go to the race. They're like, Melissa and Jason are really into the race. Like, they sit and they watch the race. Now, I would do that. I would sit and watch the race. And so I think Alex is going to go with his friend Kayla. She's been in some videos of mine before, the one that sings. And then they're going to go with like Melissa and Jason and drive down there and then just drive back. But it's just too much. It's like, for me, I don't need to be part of that. And, you know, it was really weird my first couple years after that, like, the year afterwards, like, Alex was like, do you want to go? I got tickets. And I was like, I don't know. And I was kind of like waiting until the very last moment. Very much like I had, you know, FOMO, like fear of missing out. And I had even brought it up in like meetings and talked to my sponsor about it, about like wanting to go, but knowing I probably shouldn't go, but I wanted to go. And, you know, and they're like, if it's this big of an issue for you that you can't figure out what, just don't go. And I remember I just didn't go. And, you know, it's also like Memorial Day weekend in Indiana. So if you're not like with your family on a Sunday, and everybody in Indianapolis goes to the race. I'm like, it's like me and like 2 of my friends that don't go to the race. Tanya always has to work that weekend because that's like a big weekend for the kennel, but you're kind of like left out of it, you know? And so, I mean, the rest of Indianapolis is dead, period. It's like totally dead. And so I knew that was going to be the case, and I ended up not going, and I can't even remember what I did, but I remember I was, you know, I was totally fine with the fact that I did not go. And then Alex's brother and him came home, and they like took like 3-hour naps, and I had gone out and gotten like frozen pizzas and pizza rolls and stuff. And so when they woke up, we just like sat there and like watched movies and just hung out, and it was really fun. And then the following year, Alex was like, do you want to go? And I pulled the same, you know, bullshit of, oh, I don't know, and I might want. He goes, listen, he goes, don't put me through this year. If you don't think you're going to want to go, just let me know now, and I'll find somebody else to go with. You know, I'll ask Fufu, his brother. And I think that was his brother's senior year in college. So he did ask him, and then they went. I was like, you two just go, let it be your thing. So they went, and they went with some of our friends. And then that was 2 years. Okay, then last year, I can't remember who Alex went with last year. I think he went with Kayla again last year. And because Fufu had already moved to San Diego. And had a blast, but like, it's just, that's not a place that I need to go, you know? It's just, and it's not because I'm gonna feel like, you know, I want to drink. It's that the drinking really gets on my nerves, and I mean, it's like severe drunkenness, and it's too much. I don't like seeing it. I don't like witnessing it. It's not enjoyable for me to be around that much, you know what I mean? It's why if I go out, I don't stay out past about 12:30 or 1, because it starts getting real drunk and I don't enjoy it, you know? But I do the other stuff on that weekend. Like, I do go to some of the parties and stuff. I'll probably go out that weekend. It's a fun weekend to go out. You see celebrities all over the place. There are always crazy amounts of celebrities here in Indianapolis. Race day weekend. I'm trying to think of somebody that we met through. Going out. I can't remember. Anyway, that's coming up next month. That's kind of Memorial Day weekend, race day weekend here in Indianapolis is like the kickoff of summer in Indianapolis. Well, listen, I'm going to listen to my audiobook for a little bit. I'm listening to Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. It's actually a really good mystery. I have no clue what's going on, and it's very spooky. So I'm going to listen to a little bit of that and go home and go to sleep. And kind of a lazy day tomorrow. I'm kind of ready for it, to be honest. It's nice having the house clean because I don't have to worry about doing that. And Alex cleaned the bathroom yesterday because he was off. He It's spotless. I'm like, oh, thank God now I don't have to do the bathroom. Well, the only thing he didn't do was like the mirror area, because he didn't know which stuff I wanted left out and which stuff I wanted put away. So I'm going to do that probably tomorrow or the next day. It's starting to feel like summer. I'm excited. I love it. A month from now, we'll be having 70-degree weather every day. I cannot wait. Shorts every day. All right, you guys, listen, I'm going to get off here, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. If any of you are interested in doing the 24-hour readathon with me, let me know in the comment sections, and I will talk a little bit more about it. If you're interested, you can look it up on Twitter. It's at Dewey's Readathon. Oh, no, I think it's just at Readathon. And it's the Dewey 24. If you Google it, it'll come up. Dewey's 24-hour readathon. There's information on it. You can sign up for it. I did, and you just put in your Twitter handle or whatever social media you want to use where you're going to post like updates and stuff. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you've never done a readathon before to do one, you don't have to read every second of 24 hours, but it's kind of excited to be like, okay, like that's going to be what that day is dedicated to. Like I'm going to pre-film most of my videos for that day so that I can just kind of be, doing that for that day. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait. And, it's fun to get excited about something like reading, I love that, and see what I can get done. All right, you guys, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.